Please go ahead and open your reader's notebook to the next available page and go ahead and put the date in the corner. One of the standards that we've been working on in this unit of study is something that we haven't really talked very much about before. In our first unit of study with nonfiction reading, we did not focus on this standard. It's a different standard for this second unit. And so as we've been thinking about and looking at nonfiction text, it's important for us as good readers to be able to identify what we're calling, or what is called, nonfiction author's craft. Now, often we talk about fictional author's craft, and we talk about things like using similes or metaphors, providing action, description, using good word choice that includes like the five senses to make the reader feel like they are there. But now we're going to be thinking about nonfiction. And we're going to be thinking about the fact that in nonfiction, the purpose is different. Okay, our purpose in nonfiction is maybe to provide information or facts, to teach somebody something. Perhaps we're writing something to persuade, or we're reading something that was written to persuade you or to provide an opinion. So nonfiction writing, the text that we would read for different purposes, obviously for getting information about something if we're doing research, just like we did for hurricanes and tornadoes, or reading something that is designed to make you feel or share an opinion with somebody else. Now, writers of nonfiction use different kinds of craft in order to get the reader to respond in certain ways, or in order to be more effective in their purpose, what they're trying to do. Okay, let me show you what I'm talking about. Here is a good example. This is an article, and it is called Dangerous Weather, Hurricanes and Tornadoes. Dangerous Weather, Hurricanes and Tornadoes. I want to bring your attention to lines 20 and 21 of this article. Let me move it up and zoom in a little bit so you can see it. And you can see the way it's marked here on the side. This is line 20 and then 21. Okay, if we look closely, first of all, let me read the whole paragraph. Tornadoes, on the other hand, are much smaller than hurricanes. They usually form over dry, flat land, and they might only occur for a few minutes. Tornadoes develop during thunderstorms and move unpredictably. Tornado researcher Tom Grazoulis says, tornadoes are extremely hard to pin down. Okay, so if we just look at lines 20 and 21, tornado researcher Tom Grazoulis says, tornadoes are extremely hard to pin down. Okay, as a reader, you're not just reading the information, Nick, in order to learn something, but you're also reading and paying attention to the way in which the author is trying to teach you something. All right, so does anybody know what the author did in lines 20 and 21? What author craft would that be? Blake?
I think it's kind of like using like a metaphor, saying
What is a metaphor?
kind of like saying.
A metaphor typically is when you're comparing something to another object without using like or as, but they're not comparing tornadoes to a pin here. The word pin is being used in a different way. Remember, you know how we have those multiple meaning words? The word pin is being used in a way that is different from the way that you're using. They're not talking about a pin, like a push pin or a safety pin. They're talking about something different. Divine, what do you think?
I think the way they're using pin down is to like try to stop the tornado.
Well, no, it's trying to track and predict. What was my question? I'm asking you if you have an idea about the kind of authorcraft this is. And what's happening is you're trying to explain to me what this means. I'm not asking you what this means. I'm asking what kind of authorcraft did the author use here? Go ahead and turn and talk to a partner. What do you think the author did here? Okay, let's talk a minute about what you're sharing. Sophia and Anthony, did you guys have an idea about what kind of authorcraft this was?
We had to, but we decided that compare and contrast is probably.
Okay, compare and contrast, though, is a text structure. It's not really an authorcraft. Let me just point out a couple of things. What are these? Okay, so that's kind of a clue. What authorcraft did this author use? What nonfiction author's craft did this? Well, they didn't really cite anything because it doesn't say in the article. It's not being cited. Blake?
Self-explanatory.
No. It's a quotation, right? It's a quote. Who is it a quote from? Who is it a quote from?
Someone else.
Someone else? Just somebody on the street? Who is it a quote from? Who is it a quote from? Braden?
Tom, the researcher.
Okay. So why is that different than a quote from somebody on the street?
Because they know, I guess.
Close. Ellie?
Because they're using their own words.
No. Divine?
Because it's from
research and it's mostly.
He's a researcher. So what would you call him? This is about tornadoes. He's a tornado researcher. So what does that make him? Yes.
sort of like a scientist.
He's a scientist. What is he an expert at? Tornadoes. What is this article about? Tornadoes. Okay, so the author here is quoting from an authority or an expert on the topic that they're writing about. Okay, so notice the sentence before. It says, tornadoes develop during thunderstorms and move unpredictably. Okay, well, the author is just saying that, but now the author is going to follow up. The author is going to follow up. Could you move away from the table, please? You're knocking it and making it shake on the screen. Thank you. Okay, so the author is following up with a quote from an expert. So this isn't just something that the author thinks. The author's information is shared by experts. So it gives this information a very authoritative and convincing type of a viewpoint, okay? That the information is being presented is not just only the thinking of the author or writer. It is also shared by experts, people who just work on this. So let's go ahead and make a chart in our notebook with this nonfiction author's craft. This is going to be a T-chart. On one side is going to be the craft. On the other side is going to be why, or the purpose. And in this one, we're going to put, quote, an expert. And why do we want the author to, does the author want to quote an expert? To make the information convincing. We talk a lot when we're talking about our own writing about how we want to have an authoritative voice. We want to sound like an authority. And one of the ways we do that is by quoting experts. So here is one example that I found on lines 20 and 21. And I'm just going to put a note here. Tornadoes and hurricanes was the article. Just so that I can go back and show somebody. All right, so let's move on and let's think about another part of this article. I want you to turn and talk about what this part is. Let me read it to you first. It says, look outside. What do you see? Are there dark clouds in the sky? Does it look like it might rain? Do you need a jacket, an umbrella? When you check the weather to find out what clothing to wear, you are making a prediction about the weather. Okay, turn and talk with your partner. What author's craft, nonfiction author's craft is this, and what is the purpose of it? What is it designed to do? Go ahead and turn and talk. Okay, let's go ahead and share. Okay, let's go ahead and share. Nick?
Well, this was like the hook, so the point is it makes you want to read more.
Okay.
Wants you to read more.
So if we think about that, this is the hook, and the purpose is to do what?
To make us read more.
Okay. All right. Did you have something to add to that, Antonio?
I was thinking that it was like the author was trying to make you like trying to see a picture of what he's saying in your mind, because it's like look outside and stuff.
Okay, well, you know, certainly trying to make a picture in your mind may be the purpose of a different author's craft, okay, nonfiction author's craft, but it isn't really describing. Like it says, do you need a jacket? Do you know what that jacket looks like? An umbrella, do you know what that looks like? Yeah. So the author really, you know what an umbrella looks like, but you have no idea he's not telling you what color it is. He's not telling you whether it's open or closed. So he's really not trying to paint a picture, okay? Although that certainly could be an author's craft and even a nonfiction author's craft. But that's not what this is an example of. Okay, give me a thumbs up if you agree with what Nick said, that this is the hook or the engaging of the reader. Okay, so it looks like I have a lot of people that don't have their thumbs up. Okay, all right, so it looks like now we agree. So I'm going to just put here T and H because this is the same one. I'm going to put the beginning. It was paragraph number 1. And I'm going to say engage or hook the reader. And I'm going to put hook in quotes. And the purpose is to get the reader interested. Get the reader interested in the topic. It can also be to show why it is important. Like, why should the person even care about it? Why is it important? And if I read the second paragraph, I'll put that back up in a second. If I read the second paragraph in here, you can see how the author now is trying to still, in the introduction, is trying to show why it is important. Why is this topic important? It says, of course, if you look outside, you only know what the weather is like now. That's why many people rely on weather forecasts. Meteorologists or weather scientists, notice how they give you the definition of what a meteorologist is, a weather scientist, make forecasts that not only let you know what kind of clothes to wear for the day, forecasts also help keep people safe from dangerous weather such as hurricanes and tornadoes. Hurricanes and tornadoes are similar in some ways and different in some ways. Knowing about each helps with forecasting. Okay, so hopefully you're making kind of a connection. This article is kind of written in the way that you're being asked to write your essay, comparing and contrasting. Okay, so in this paragraph, the author is continuing to try to engage the reader or hook the reader, but now they've shifted a little bit from trying to create interest to showing why it is important. Okay, today, during our work time, and I promised that I would put this back up for you. During our work time, what you're going to do is you are going to work with a partner. And before you get all caught up in choosing your partner, please listen carefully. As we learned during our writer's workshop, we need to know what the directions are so that we can properly practice back when we're doing independent work. I have set out on this table in the middle of the room several issues of Storyworks magazine. And you're going to, with your partner, and I have enough issues there that each of you can have your own piece of text in front of you. You should both have the same piece of text. And what you're going to be looking for is you're going to be looking for the nonfiction article. So you're going to go through and you're going to look for the article in the Storyworks that has the word nonfiction up in the corner. Each of these issues has one nonfiction article that's identified nonfiction in the corner. Together, what you're going to do with your partner is you are going to read the article and you are going to be looking for other types of nonfiction author's craft that the author is using. You're going to continue to write that author's craft down, and obviously you're going to put, when you get over here, you're going to put the issue of the Storyworks, and see, this is where you get it, September 2017. So if I was using this one, I would go September 2017. Okay, and then I might put down the page number or the paragraph number so that I can go find it later. so that when I share it in closing meeting, I can show the sample to everybody in the classroom. Okay, I can go right to the part, we can read it, and then we can not only identify the craft, but explain why. What is the author's purpose in using that craft? And how does that affect you as the reader? All right. Any questions before we move to our work time? As we did in Writer's Workshop today, you are working with a partner. Only one of you should go. Choose an issue and get started right away. Don't change your mind on the issue you choose. Just choose the issue. Your partner should pick up 2 copies and get to work as soon as you can. Go ahead and move to work time.